Welcome to the second day of the 7th Symposium. I hope you all enjoyed the sessions yesterday. I thought we had very good presentations and discussion. So I'm Dr. Claire Cousins, the former chair of ICRP from Cambridge in the UK. I'm delighted to be back here on the stage at a symposium, something that I've done every symposium since 2011. But it is a great honour to be here back in Japan. And it's an even bigger honour here to be here this morning to act as the moderator for this keynote presentation. So my job to start with is going to be to introduce to you our morning speaker, who is Dr. Ohtsura Niwa. Dr. Niwa was born in Kobe, Japan. He has a Bachelor of Science degree in zoology and a Master of Science degree in radiation biology from Kyoto University. Dr. Niwa then moved to Stanford University, USA for his PhD, where he studied the radiation induction of leukemia and causative endogenous retrovirus in mice. He returned to Kyoto University Medical School in 1975, focusing his research on the mechanism of radiation induction of endogenous retrovirus, and found that the provirus genome is suppressed by DNA methylation. And I'm hoping he's going to explain a little bit to us of his science in his talk. He also found that embryonal stem cells can silence the newly integrated provirus genome by the methylation-mediated mechanism. In 1984, Dr. Niwa moved to Hiroshima University Research Institute of Radiation Biology and Medicine, and began interacting with researchers at the Radiation Effects Research Foundation, RERF. He began working on the role of untargeted mutation in radiation carcinogenesis, in addition to the conventional targeted mutation, and started using the length chain mutation of a highly mutable mouse mini-satellite locus, PC1, as a marker. Results suggested the untargeted mutation of the locus takes place in an untargeted manner as a result of DNA damage responses. After moving to Kyoto University Radiation Biology Center in 1997, Dr. Niwa continued to study DNA damage responses in early embryonal cells. Dr. Niwa has also served as a Deputy Director of the Research Center for Charged Particle Therapy at the National Institute of Radiological Sciences in Chiba from 2007 to 2010, and worked as the CEO at Biomedics Japan in Tokyo from 2010 to 2012. The Great East Japan earthquake and the Fukushima nuclear reactor accident took place in 2011, and shortly afterwards, Dr. Niwa moved to the Fukushima Medical University in 2012 and lived in Fukushima for 3 years until 2015. Although the radiation from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station was too low to seriously damage people's health, it still devastated people's daily life, as we all know and we're hearing about this week. This was the first time Dr. Niwa realized the nature of harm radiation has on people. And he learned in Fukushima that we need to listen to people before talking about science of radiation health effects. In addition, he also learned that showing empathy to these people is key to gaining their trust. Again, something we heard about yesterday afternoon. From 2015 to 2023, Dr. Niwa served as the chair of RERF, the binationally supported institution to conduct research and studies for peaceful purposes on medical effects of radiation and associated diseases in humans, with a view to contributing to maintenance of the health and welfare of the A-bomb survivors. He spent 8 years finding ways to share his research with the A-bomb survivors and their children, realizing that by gaining their trust, they can help even more with research studies. During his career, Dr. Niwa has published well over 100 peer-reviewed papers. He's won many accolades and awards, including the Röntgen Medal in 2005, the Takashi Nagai Peace Memorial Nagasaki Award of the City of Nagasaki, and the Henry Kaplan Distinguished Scientist Award of the IARR, both in 2015. Dr. Niwa became a member of ICRP Committee 1 in 2001 and a member of the Main Commission in 2009, retiring in 2017. Dr. Niwa is not only a distinguished scientist with a brilliant mind, he's also a very thoughtful, humble, and caring person, and hence his decision to move to Fukushima in 2012 to help those affected by the 2011 earthquake and nuclear accident. So as also a great friend, it is with great pleasure that I invite Dr. Niwa to give his keynote lecture this morning, Atomic Bombing, Suffering and Science. Otsura, the floor is yours.
So thank you very much for kind invitation to this very important meeting, and I'm very much honored. And as has been already introduced, I was very much into radiation biology for many, many, many years. And I was kind of devoted laboratory scientist, and I love laboratory work very much up until my retirement from Kyoto University. Then you have no place to do laboratory work. But anyhow, for the simple-minded radiation biologist, risk issue is something you shouldn't touch upon. And it's such a dirty, weird, and really non-logical kind of things. And I was trying to get away as much as possible when I was working for Hiroshima University. And so whenever August 6th, this time, comes, then I hear the very big, noise and shout and drum and everything, and people are marching, and then anti-nuke, blah, blah, blah. So I was hiding in my laboratory during that time, and so avoided very much. But somehow I was involved in ICRP as a radiation biologist, and listening to the discussion, and very sincere discussion, also educative in many sense, because I was not exposed to that kind of thing. And then this was the biggest turning point was Fukushima accident. So simple-minded radiation biologists thought that, okay, yeah, I can help them. I can tell them, don't worry. And then dose is so low, and everything is fine, or something like that. And I think, many discussions and lectures I had in Tokyo up until maybe June of 2011 or something. Around that time, I for the first time, I think June, I believe, I went to Iwaki. I was invited to talk about radiation. And then a big, large audience of 200 younger generation, especially mothers, with those very keenly focusing on me. And I started talking about this straight science. And then when you give lecture to the student of university or wherever it is, you can sense, what kind of response they have, and good positive order comes, and very questionable. Many, young enthusiastic students raise hand, ask a question, try to shoot professors from the, stage, and so. So it was a kind of very interesting fight when I was studying at Stanford, and before I was studying as a student at Kyoto University. It was always interesting to shoot down professors, and I'm very smart, or something like that. So, but in the case of this Iwaki lecture, I was really astonished, because I can clearly sense that these people are not believing me. And they're just very cold-eyed and staring at you, and I didn't know what to do. And I was perplexed and frozen on the stage. And then I figured, why? You know, I'm just telling really good science, truth, and everything, and the fact, but didn't work. And that was the beginning. And then I figured, you know, since ICRP member came several times, and Jack Rochelle suggested me, you know, he had similar experience in Belarus and the local village or town or whatever it is, and why don't we just go and see that place, Belarus and southern part of it. And we had a trip to Belarus organized by Rochelle, Dr. Rochelle, and then when there together, me and Dr. Kai went to the trip, and Chris Clement, and very nice interpreter, and he was saying, telling me that he lives in the central city, and then came as an interpreter. Very good one, and very sharp. And then he was saying, you know, my wife told me that I shouldn't go down to south. And but you're here, and why? You know, that just pays very good, something like that. So the trip was quite informative because those local town people are becoming calm. And especially it was so promising that when we were staying in a hotel, we have to go to the other side of the road for the supper. Then I was sitting on the table, we are sitting on the table, and a bunch of youngsters came in, maybe high school boys, but very well dressed. And girls are also very well dressed. And then waiter came to us and, can we have music? And we said, yeah, nothing wrong about it. Then record started and make nice dancing music, and then kids started and then dancing. And I was really happy to see that, okay, that was 25 years after the Chernobyl accident, that kind of time. So at least in Fukushima, if we spend 25 years, Fukushima will be recovering like this. And so it was a good hope. Then met many people, and then came back, and then we started dialogue seminar. And it was very teaching because just simple science can't do anything, no help. It even hampers the recovery of the place. And so it was very interesting because we are organizing small meeting and here and there and every 3-4 months, and inviting people from Europe, and like farmer from Finland, reindeer farmer from Finland, some farmer from Norway, these kind of places. And the exchange of these two populations, Fukushima people resident and these farmers from those countries. And it also taught us very much, and I was very happy about it. And when I was asked to take chairmanship 2015, I wasn't sure, but probably I can do something in a different aspect that is different from Ohtsura Niwa, staying away from this, peace ceremony or whatever it is, and just sitting this way and doing laboratory work. And so went there, and today's story started. Okay. Oops. So what I'm going to talk about is Radiation Research Foundation has been providing the world the data on radiation health effects since 47. And all the data and biosample came from airborne survivors and their children, and it's now 21st century. The trend of both science and scientific ethics changed very dramatically, starting around 1980. So informed consent kind of concept came in. We really have to have informed consent. And the system is getting more and more complex, and also more and more kind of maybe on the side of human rather than science. And so ICRP is in that position, and I thought that when I moved in, I thought this institute has to be in line, revise things and in line with this 21st century science and ethics. And so our stakeholder survivors, their children, they are very important. But at the same time, I soon realized that community members are very important, because survivors are living in a society, and society's movement is very much kind of affecting to survivors' thinking and children thinking, and I can come back to this point many times probably. And so, starting with a short history of air bombing, and I started just checking the small history of the air bombing, and it's very interesting in many sense. So 1938, as you know, all of you know probably, nuclear fission discovered. And then Leo Szilard, which has no name here, I think he has patent for the chain reaction. And I was really surprised to find it out. But he came to Einstein after evacuating from Europe, suggested that the US should make a bomb. Otherwise, Nazi will be making it, and it's going to be horribly dangerous. So Einstein somehow wrote a letter to Roosevelt, and that's the beginning. And then Manhattan Project started 3 years later, and then speed to the bomb was so really high speed. And so 42, Manhattan started, and then 43, maybe nuclear reactor and all of these things start to operate. And within 2 years, they have enough uranium for 1 bomb, enough plutonium for 2 bombs. And then test detonation in June 16, and 3 weeks later, real detonation in 2 cities. And US that time was really strong. And unfortunately, any of the big countries in the world is just going down. And value of dollar, US dollar is going down very bad. And unfortunately, Japanese yen is also going down so badly. But anyhow, so this is a Hanford B reactor. And I went there, and many of them may have gone there. It's a beautiful nuclear reactor standing in nowhere, and just desert. And this facility produced plutonium enough for 2 bombs within 2 years. And this reactor operated even after the war and produced many, many plutoniums without much trouble like we had in Fukushima, no way. So very efficient and very carefully designed one. And then test detonation, which is very famous. And we don't have this, Oppenheimer coming to Japan yet, but Oppenheimer said, well, we know the world would not be the same. And he cited the Bhagavad Gita. It's very difficult for Japanese to pronounce. And citing Vishnu's word that you really have to fulfill your duty. And actually, Oppenheimer did. And this is it. And army officers did their duty, unfortunately. And then this happened, and nothing. And stripped off everything, and really sad to see these pictures and taking. And then real casualty in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, just injury-wise or death-wise. So just around 1 kilometer from the hypocenter, death rate is very high. And injury is surely high. And more than 200,000 citizens in the two cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki died by December of 1945, and the other 200,000 survived, but a large fraction of them had to live in the hard daily life with medical, economical, societal problems, as you can guess. And economical problem is a thing which not many researchers studied. Unfortunately, that was very unfortunate for the case of A-bomb. And there are 1970s Keio University research social scientists studied, and they picked up a household from the hypocenter all the way to out. And Second World War, after Second World War, economical recovery from the bomb was much slower when the household comes from the near hypocenter, because household tends to lose, once they tend to lose the male, father of the family, they have difficult time to catch up, because that was the time, still the time, that male chauvinistic kind of time. And next one is when the household lose the first male son, recovery is again slow. And so this damage is very tightly linked with how household can stand up from the disaster. And it was very interesting work, but only few papers published in Japanese, and it should be probably translated into English and to be learned upon by many real specialists. Now we have many specialists. And societal issue is a very important thing. It comes out to be, and I also, and for the people, this devastation of people's life is very strong. And on the left side, you see this girl offering water in a small tin can, and to the dead mother on a bridge. Hijiyama Bridge is very near to our area, by the way. And so she veiled the water from the Otsura River, and then offering her dead mother that she thought that his mother is sleeping or something. Then this lady, Segawa, Mrs. Segawa came and found this out and just quickly drew. And I was really surprised and astonished to see this drawing. And this can tell a lot. So what's going to happen to this girl? If this one has good relatives to take care of, that's fine. But if not, she'll be hanging around, and then I don't know what's going to happen. And this boy is very famous. This is a very famous photo. And just standing and waiting for the cremation for the dead younger brother on the back. And this photo was very much favored by our Pope, current Pope, and he used this photo very often. But anyhow, you can guess, and then, so when you see, this is Dr. Otsura's paper, when you see this kind of data, you have to think in each point are coming from many individual survivors. So it's just not simple point. And when the dose is low, that is outside of the hypocenter, then the number of people group increases so that confidence interval is smaller. And for the higher one, it's big. High dose people died, so no survivors. So many things, this non-parametric fitting can tell the researchers. And I never thought this way when I was doing research. Oh, this is really dirty data or something like that. But it has many, many information. So US decided to make ABCC. And so Truman issued directives, and this directive, and on this side, and then it is saying that it is considered the group of 14,000. This is Japanese researcher came in 2 days later into Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they started studying many things, including radiation, and also activated the metal to figure out what kind of A-bomb and gamma, or whatever neutron released, and that's a sign of atomic bomb. And also they did many autopsies and of the dead people and so. But anyhow, so 14,000 individuals being already worked out by Japanese researchers, and then in September of 1945, US came to two cities and start to take over the work Japanese researchers are working on, and they made US-Japan commission and collected more data, and then report just went back to US towards the end of, I think, the same 1945. And so this offers a unique opportunity for the study of medical and biological effect of radiation. The study is beyond the scope of military and naval affairs involving, as it does, humanity in general, not only in war, but in anticipated problems of peaceful industry and agriculture. When I first read this one, I thought, wow, it's great, fancy and nice, well written, and almost like plowshare kind of anecdote kind. So, wow, great. But one thing, I spent 80 years and becoming more and more old, nasty, or dirty or something like that, and scrutinize kind of negative point. Here, there is no mention of humanity-related comment is none. So this is focusing on science, just science. That was the time of science, not humanity. So that is the observation. After looking at this one for maybe 5, 6 years, then, well, there's something wrong about this, and then came. So it's very interesting to become old because we can be very nasty to other people. Anyhow, this is a current building, and building itself was built in 3 years after, 2 or 3 years after Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Nagasaki one was not the original one. They moved in here, and I forgot the year of movement. And Hiroshima Institute will be completely changed because RLF Hiroshima will be relocating to Hiroshima University Medical Campus. So if you have a chance to go to Hiroshima, you go here, and then last chance will be, you can see this one for 2 years, and after that, they may start demolishing it. Okay, so then this is a kind of flow chart. 45, so A-bomb dropped, US-Japan Joint Commission, and 14,000. Then ABCC was established. And shielding survey, this is a very important survey. Very smart people at ABCC decided and dispatched interviewer in a pair. Then they started collecting information of the survivor, where you are, and are you standing outside, sitting, facing the hypocenter or the other way around? All kind of information being collected by this, and this made those estimation possible. Very important. Then cohort study was recommended in 55, and ABOM GHQ, I think, general headquarters, they asked the Japanese government that 1950 consensus have to have a questionnaire where you are in Hiroshima, if you are living in Hiroshima. Did you experience a bomb, or yes or no, that kind of thing. Very carefully thought about and things. And so national consensus was important. Then for the first years, first 10 years, US doctor comes but didn't know what to do. But after 55, the recommendation, the ABCC and all the researchers start to know what to do. That's cohort study, follow-up. But survivor felt kind of very difficult. They thought that coming of ABCC was a great thing for the first time, because this institute will be offering Medicare to the survivors who are suffering from, especially for the woman, keloid, and marital age woman with horrible keloid is very deadly. So they were looking forward. But no Medicare given, and only science. And so they are very much disappointed. Okay, a bombing and this, health effect studies must be in a kind of series of experiment US made. And so survivor, mouse or guinea pig, they preferred to use guinea pig. We are guinea pigs for US. So they were very negative to ABCC. And at that time, and this, very negative skepticism, I think ABCC didn't notice or didn't pay attention to it. And they tried to get as much good quality medical samples, biosamples. And so that was something which hurt local people and airborne survivors and so forth. And so guinea pig issue, and these people are really used like guinea pig. Without consent, taking blood is not that problem, but 200 cc, it was a big, volume sometime, but sometimes they have to do, researchers want to do the bone biopsy and by needle biopsy things. It's very painful. And so these, another one is the boys and girls taking photos naked. And it's very humiliating, but just to check the sexual maturation process and the effect of radiation. So all of these things was somehow ruined ABCC's fame. And this is a very interesting guy, and he refused to be the subject, to become subject of ABCC study, because he was snatched to ABCC to get bone marrow taken. But he came in one summer to open house of Hiroshima laboratory, and a very smart guy, really successful guy though. And he said, I got this radiation 800 meters from the hypocenter. And I don't know the dose. And the doctor said, Nakamura said, well, we can check that and give us 5 ml of blood, and did fish. And this small arrow is a break point, and it translocation site, and color differs, and huge number of these translocations. So those was calculated, and it came up 4.6 gray. It's killing those, but he survived because of the very intensive, I'm sure, intensive care of the family. And the biggest killer of acute problem is diarrhea. You lose water, dried up. And second trouble is bone marrow depletion, maybe lymphocyte depletion. So as long as you somehow do something with this for the, desiccation thing, family has to keep feeding water, and also some very maybe digestible food like porridge or something like that. Intensive care is necessary. So many of the high dose survivors who survived always say, I've been just in bed for 1 month, and family took care of. Or some of them even say, I was sleeping 1 month long, and somehow I recovered. You really need intensive care. But many things can be learned from this 2 photos, and he wrote this book. And actually, I made a copy of this book, and 100 copies. And then I brought to the Radiation Research Society in Hawaii. It was, 1915 or after 15 anyhow, after I became chairman. It was very heavy though, but it just went gone. And so this was very popular book, and everybody went to this Mr. Kodama, oh, please sign, please sign. Very interesting. So he was very happy, by the way. So, article incorporation for the RERF. So, RERF was organized institute from ABCC 1975. And now US-Japan binational institute, joint institute. And the article of incorporation of RERF is Article 3 is a very impressive. Juristic person shall be established and managed with support from Japanese and US government. And its objectives shall be to conduct research and studies for peaceful purpose on medical effect of radiation and associated disease in human, with a view to contribute to the maintenance of health and welfare of the airborne survivors and to enhance the health of all humankind. It's a very beautiful article. And so this reorganization to RERF with above AOI could have been a good chance to get rid of the past negative image of the ABCC. But RERF inherited all the research and together with the negative image as well. So we really have to do something, was my understanding when I took chairmanship. So such negative image comes not only from the survivor, but also from the local community member. It's very important. Discrimination against survivor comes survivor's neighbor. So being a survivor is a very kind of sensitive issue. If your neighbors know, oh, he is survivors, or he is now 20 years old, a marital age, but we shouldn't marry our daughter to him because he is a survivor, dangerous, maybe malformation, all kinds of hideous things will happen. He might be dying from cancer. And so household will... So it's so important to have community consent kind. And so that damages research definitely, but it damages RERF's morale too. And I'll tell you kind of very sad story. And so when I came over, I learned that many kind of, bad things were done and people are unhappy. And then came 70-year anniversary of Radiation Effect Research Foundation at 2017 for Hiroshima and 18 for Nagasaki. And I have to stand on a stage and audience, local audience. And first thing I thought I should be saying is, we thank you so much for your contribution to our research. And without you, our research cannot be done. Thank you very much. Then I figured, well, somebody in the audience may raise a hand saying, okay, you said thank you, something. And if this one say, we don't like to be thanked by you, then you are again, and don't know what to do about. So how can I, say thank you to the people? So at least in Japanese culture, when you do something and peacemaking should start, you have to admit that you did bad thing to that person. So I'm sorry, we did this, that one, that's my biggest mistake. Well, this is the only way I can somehow move ahead. Once I said that, this makes kind of good feel for me. I kind of, too strategic as a, fair person. But anyhow, I was very much afraid, and I really wanted to have good support from the survivors and local communities. So I said, we know that our ancestors did many bad things that we admit, and we are sorry for that. Then I said, thank you very much. So these two things I said was, to me, my first difficult task to be fulfilled. And that's the reason why I put this red mark on the shoulder of Niwa. And 70 years anniversary. And this red one is also very important because after I became a chairperson, I only know researchers of RELF, Nori Nakamura, and Dale Preston, Charles Landon, very good scientists. And I was working in Hiroshima University. I woke up RELF and grabbed Dale, and I have this question, that question. And then he was so smart. But anyhow, I thought that I should know the system of this institute and good and bad. So only 200 maybe workers in Hiroshima and Nagasaki laboratory, RELF. And if I spend 1 hour interview, just daily, chat something is fine. Then spend 200 hours can finish entire interview. So I started doing that. And I met a middle-aged woman working as general management issues or something like that. Maybe clerk or whatever, I forgot her position. But she said, I'm really careful about telling my working place to my neighbor. I said, what? Why do you say? If I say that, then our family might be discriminated. Very dangerous. I'm so afraid. So this is a top secret for our family, being survivors. And not being released to the neighbor or local community or anything. Then I thought, all the good institutes in the world, employees are very proud of the institute, and usually, so that's the reason why they work hard. Oh, longer.
Quite over time. So
Okay, 15 minutes. Yeah, okay, all right. So anyhow, so this is the reason why I realized these difficult things and started something on this. And so 70 years anniversary was one place where I said that. Then 2019, we established external stakeholder committees, and 2 of them. One is for sample use, biosample use. The other one is trio study. That is 2 parents, 1 child, several children. DNA sequencing will be done. So DNA sequencing project. And this 2 meeting was run for 3 years and came up the good recommendation 2022 at the end. And now I was very happy to have this done. And strength of RELF everybody knows LSS, AHS, and including good number of people, both sex, and those ranges 0 to 3 gray, and one of the longest and largest follow-up studies. So this is a famous dose estimation map, and hypocenter, there is no dot, everybody does. So RERF study comes from even survivors and F1s and local community, because we need their support, definitely. And so the fact which troubled me was this is always unidirectional. This has to be done bidirectional. And how to make bidirectional? If you are a medical hospital, then you are offering the maybe health, maybe blood test data back to the patient. So the patients are happy to have that one. But no such thing, surely maybe their health can be checked and informed by the doctors, but something more is impossible. And because we are research institute, not hospital. So this was a problem, but this goes to UNSQUARE and ICRP and national government, and goes down to national protection policy, goes to the workers and public, including survivors, and this circles. And also academic community, maybe Radiation Research Society and many others, Radiation Protection Society. And so this is a kind of picture. The observational finding of epidemiology and clinical science is somatic effect of leukemia and cancer, and genetic effect, and all of these you know, so I don't have to talk about. And these observational findings have to be backed up by mechanism. So mechanism is something definitely need. And the most important project so far is TRIO. This can solve 60 years enigma. Why people talking about why no effect epidemiologically and clinically? That can be given answer to. So I just put things in 3 stages. Stage 1, fundamental to RERF studies, comes from participants, survivors and children, and local community. So their movement is very important. So stage 1 studies are AP, clinical, and 7 minutes, okay. Clinical and based on the observational approach. Then a mechanistic study based on the molecular analysis. So we need stage 1 data and stage 1 biosamples. And for the biosamples, we need informed consent, agreement of local community, so that local community may feed negative pressure or something like that. So it's important to have good relation with local people as well. So to make our study 21st century study, it's really needed. So in the 21st century, science involving human requires LC and LC-related consideration. This applies particularly for the above 2 stage 2 studies. Okay. I'm okay. So sorry. So stakeholder committee was made, and local participant and academician as a chairperson. And then some of the comments are very encouraging. I have to be going through. Mrs. K.O. We Hiroshima A-bomb survivors thought that we were unlucky and unfortunate people. But still, when I think about it, it is rare for research to be conducted involving group of Hiroshima and Nagasaki peoples. Today, I felt our misfortune was beneficial to the seeing person, unseen pursuit of the advancement of medicine, and I have never thought about it before. But since this study can develop, then it's important and for the future, and especially for the Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so another one said, I think the question now is how can REF make some contribution to humankind after settling the negative legacy of 76 years? In that respect, I'd like to ask you to sincerely accept the opinions mentioned previously and continue your effort and not betray our trust. And so these kind of wording surely has some hard point, but still positive, moving forward kind. So it took me 80 years to come to this stage, and I'm very happy to be friended with all of these great survivors and children of survivors. So since Claire is pushing me, oops. Okay. Oh shit. So I end my story by showing this. Mr. Kodama, very smart guy, very successful guy in business, by the way. And Mr. Obama is meeting Mr. Tsuboi. And he's a guy, a junior high mathematical teacher of mathematics. And he kept telling us, you are the research institute, keep just doing good research. That's the kind of history of survivors. Don't stop it. And so always encouraging. Many other survivors, not famous as these two, encouraged. And we have good friends in Nagasaki as well. And these two unfortunately died recently, and they're gone, but their influence to REF is still going. And thank you very much. And also I learned a lot, by the way, from the employees of our institute. And they are much more expert when dealing with survivors and their children. Thank you very much.
Otsura, thank you very much indeed for that. Sadly, you've talked through your question time, but please, I'm sure lots of people will have questions to ask Otsura during the coffee break, but we do not have any time for questions now. So we are going to move on to the next session without a break. But again, another round of applause for Otsura.